Colorado's #1 late-night talk television show. It's Jann Scott Live. I'm Jann Scott. Welcome to the big program tonight. God, do we have tons to talk about with you this evening. There's a million things to talk about, and a huge list. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about your wife. Is your wife crazy? And that'll be the big topic for the evening, or girlfriend. Also, the water police. We're going to talk about boulders loaded with false memory people, the Catholic Church, the FBI's new rulings for looking at terrorists and fingerprinting people coming into the country. We're going to talk about Israel. Should Israel invade Palestine, etc., etc., etc. But first off, we got some calls actually into the show. It's the Wino Warehouse, warehousing winos. It's the $5.2 million wino warehouse that we're building out in North Boulder. Now this is really interesting. The city's giving $1 million to the new homeless shelter, which is really a wino shelter because these are adult males in a dominant addiction that come to Boulder. And they've raised a total of $5 million to build this new $5 million homeless shelter that we are building. And these guys are coming up here from Denver. These chronic, hardcore winos are coming up here from Denver and sucking off the kindness of Boulder. And then we get a call the other day from Donna Merrick, who calls me and is accosted by one of these winos down in the mall, and she has to have the guy arrested. Now, this is the second call in 2 weeks that we've gotten to this TV show about the street people. And then we're walking down in the mall today, and some guy walks up to me with a skateboard, a little aggro little punk, and he goes, "Your show sucks." And I'm like, "Same to you, kid." And he's holding the the skateboard, you know, and like, you know, they use these skateboards as weapons. So your thoughts here, Wino Warehouse, Alyssa, Wino Warehouse. Your thoughts on these creeps that are on the street, and what should we do with them? Now, down in Denver, they made a de-embarkation line at 22nd. Okay, and on the de-embarkation line, 22nd Street, they said, no more winos cross this line. You have this part of Lodo to wander around in. Can we put the Wino Warehouse thing up? Let's put that up. Wino Warehouse. That's the topic. It's the Wino Warehouse. Wino Warehouse.
We don't have something for it.
Yeah, we just had it. You just pulled it. Wino, you had it. You pulled it right up. The Wino Warehouse. It's the one you saved. And do we have a call, 440-3572, on this? What do you think? What should we do with these guys? And the $6.2 million, there it is. Thank you so much. It's Club Med for Winos at the Boulder Homeless Shelter. It's our 5.2 Club Med. Come on, lay back, sit by the palm trees. We'll put your wine you get your own personal cabana, store your wine, then you go out on the street and give me a quarter. Come on, give me $1. Give me $1. Give me $1. Let me get my, lady, I'm going to punch you if you don't give me some money. Yeah. What a town. What a goddamn town. a $5.2 million Club Med, a $5.2 million Club Med for winos. Why didn't we have them build their own? How about tents? Why couldn't they have tents and porta potties? Why don't we just say, if you're drinking, you can't come here. You stay. You want to go drink it on the Lodo and drink. If you're situationally homeless, we'll help you get back on your feet. We'll give you a hand up, not a hand out. We'll help you get a job. But these guys don't want jobs. Their jobs are sitting out in the street collecting $15 to $35 from you so that they can go and buy Mad Dog 2020 or Wild Irish Rose or Boone's Farm. And the city of Boulder gave the budget is too low, $1.2 million to the Wino Club Med. Who wants to go to Club Med? Right out here, right next to the bus stop. So I love this place. You go to the bus stop, you can go to the Wino Club Med, then go to the bus stop, and then out of that $35 you're collecting from people, oh, here, you poor homeless person, you're so dirty, here you go. Thanks, miss. And then you can go over and get a little tit at the bus stop. Come on, you got a Wino special for the lap dance? Well, at least they have those two places in the right part of town next to each other. Got the big bus stop whorehouse next to the Wino Club Med. 440-3572. Fucking crazy giving them a $5.2 million homeless shelter. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus, help us. We don't know what we do. All right. That's another guy, another story. All right. Okay, how about the water police? The city of Boulder has now hired Temple Security to go around and make sure that you are not watering your lawn on days that you're not supposed to, or you will get a ticket. What I want to know is why didn't they use the zoning department or planning department? Zoning is always going around busting businesses for, you put up the wrong sign in front of your store. Ticket. So why not take one of those people from the zoning department? You know, they could spare one of them and let them go around and give people a hard time on their lawns. You know, or why did we have to hire a separate security agency to go, we are now going to bust you if you are watering your lawn on the... Boulder people are very sensitive. Okay, we are very thoughtful when it comes to water. I mean, Christ, this is the most environmentally correct city in the entire Western Hemisphere. If you water your lawn on the wrong day, you can be assured that your neighbor will be breaking into your house and strangling you in your bed. We don't need a separate police force for this. So I say, let's use zoning. You know, they're a bunch of Nazis. You know, they like to go around and give people a hard time, the businesses about that. You put a sign up on your store? How dare you? What, are you going to try to sell things there too? Let the zoning cops go out and bust the lawn people. Or how about the Boulder cops? I mean, you know, we got enough of them. They're out on patrol all the time. They can see if a sprinkler is on or not and step over. Who is it? Miss, you know your sprinkler's on, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, I'm sorry, the gardener must have... You know, but those gardeners, first of all, they don't speak English, so to try to get this thing communicated to them, to get the times changed and the clocks changed, it's hard enough. You can't hire good domestic help anymore, that's for sure. You know, and the ones that speak English, and hell, for us to go out and take Spanish lessons, well, we're just asking too much, isn't it? So, I mean, you can't go around busting people because they have domestic help that don't know how to set the timers back. It's going to take them a little while. I've been practicing my Spanish, though. Cinco de Mayo. And then, Alyssa, what is that thing that you say to people if you want to meet their mother?
Their mother or their cat?
Well, no, okay, their cat.
Déjame hablar con el gato.
They have
Let me
and
talk to the cat.
let me talk to the cat. Okay, and then the thing is, if you meet somebody's mother and you say, oh, yeah, pleased to meet you, ma'am, you go, what is it?
Es una placer. It's a pleasure.
That's good.
That's good. You like that?
Yeah,
Very formal.
you speak Spanish like a white girl, you know that.
Yeah, you like that?
Forget,
No,
get
I
out.
don't speak Spanish like a Spanish girl.
Yeah. What is it? Cinco de Madre. Hi, miss, nice to meet you.
No.
Cinco de Madre?
You're gonna get smacked or punched or something.
Hey. All right. Speaking of that, we're going to talk about this later on in the show. Not now. We're going to talk about it later. We're going to talk about your wife. Is your wife crazy? Call up every guy you know and say, hey, this guy's going to start talking about wives. Oh, yeah. Anyways, but back on the water police. What is Boulder doing? We run out of money, so we give $1.2 million to the Wino Club Med, and now we're hiring a separate security agency, Temple Security, to go out and bust you for your lawn. And just because your domestic help can't speak English. I don't know. Hey. All right. All right. The other thing is taxes. You know, we're off on tax revenue, so I have a new suggestion. We're taxing businesses, you're paying taxes. Let's tax some of these office spaces that go up. When people move their companies in and rent out office space, they don't pay any tax at all. They just provide services. So let's have tax on office space. And that would help because we have a lot of offices, a lot of software companies here in town. Let's have a use tax for offices. You know, if you have, depending on your square footage, you pay tax for your office here in Boulder. And that would shore up the money that we're missing this year. 440-3572, who's in favor of taxing offices? Especially real estate offices. We really give it to them. How you doing? You enjoying the show so far? Oh, what's he talking about taxing my office? No! And lawyers, those motherfuckers should pay double. Yeah. Business lawyers. You know, the big fat cat law offices. Let's tax them. Yeah, hell yeah. All right. Let's tax the lawyers and tax the realtors. 440-3572, the talk line. Hi. Oh yeah, here comes, I can feel this. This is a lawyer calling. Tax the lawyers, we'll tax the realtors. Don't hire Temple Security for checking your lawn. Let's have zoning do that. Okay? Have zoning and planning. Put one of those little maggots out there to go out and bust you for your lawn. And then, you know, you people that have domestic help, you ought to take Spanish lessons. So you at least get the timers set right and things like that. What the hell's the matter with you? We are a bilingual, diverse community. If you can't speak Spanish, you don't deserve to have domestic help. All right, hi caller. You are on the air with Jann Scott. What's going on? Hey, what's up? Oh, all right. All right, that's it. We're moving on from this one. The next thing is, here's a story. It did not appear in the Boulder paper. It appeared in the Rocky Mountain News. They are memories, Julie says, sear from her soul. Horrific, vivid images of abuse. She alleges she and a baby suffered at the hands of her father. Now, this is a real certified wacko here. The images which surfaced after hypnosis nearly 7 years ago have torn her family apart. Now they threaten to land the 40-year-old Fort Collins mother behind bars. All right. Cochran may be held in contempt of court for refusing to follow an Arapahoe court magistrate's order to allow her 15-year-old son, Sean, to have unsupervised visits with her parents. All right. This is one of these uncovered memories. These are repressed memory. This is the repressed memory syndrome that's moving, well, it has been just the rage for the past 10 years. Repressed memories. Repressed memories. We're now talking about repressed memories. We'll put that up. The memories. Repressed memories. Oh boy, and this story gets better. All right? The story goes on. This woman goes to a therapist who puts false memories in her brain, okay, about her father being a Satanist, dressing in robes, about her being sexually abused, on and fucking on. And she now keeps her son, her 15-year-old son, away from the grandparents. All of this is bullshit. This is total bullshit. It's all made up. The woman is mentally ill, and she's created this whole scenario. She's created this entire scenario of sexual abuse and abuse at the hands of her parents, which never happened. Now, there is a cult-busting organization here in Boulder which was profiled on PBS. And there was several families here in Boulder who also were taken in by these lesbian therapist cults, as they're called, which try to get women to say that they have been molested by their families who are involved in satanic and ritualistic abuse cults. And there's a clear case of this. Here's one in the Rocky Mountain News. And finally, we've gotten an Arapahoe County judge who is going to throw Julie Connican in jail for this, all right? I mean, she absolutely believes this crap. Who they ought to throw in jail is her therapist, the person who implanted these false memories in her brain. And here in Boulder, oh God, there are an incredible amount of people that are nuts and have gone to see therapists who've also gotten them started, implanted, memories, false memory implant. Nothing pisses me off more. And, over the past decade, I interviewed people like John Bradshaw and the two women that wrote the book, The Courage to Heal, and just numbers of people. I used to do this radio show, a national radio show called Addiction Free Radio, where we talked about all of these things, child abuse, sexual addictions, eating disorders, on and on and on. It was a weekend program that went on for 7 years, and I had all of these people on, and I used to really question them, because they'd always say, yes, and my parents murdered babies, and they buried them in the backyard, and then we sacrificed little children. And I used to ask, and then sometimes they'd even have a police officer on, and I'd say, well, so where are the bodies? Where's the forensic evidence in this? And nobody could ever come up with it, and which was just this gaping hole. It's like, is this bullshit or what? And it turned out when PBS Frontline did a 2-hour expose on these therapy cults, they exposed all of these folks. And so anyways, here's another one that's taking place in Denver, and the judge is, I believe this week, threw the Fort Collins, it's in Arapahoe County, so the judge threw this Fort Collins mother behind bars for ruining the life of her parents and not following the court orders, essentially. She didn't follow the court orders. Unbelievable. Anyways, these implanted memories. 4403572, false memory wackos is what we call them here. Oh, good. Now we've settled down back there. We can move along here on to the next. How are you? Lots to talk about this evening. Here's this guy, the next guy, 4403572, the talk line. I'm Jann Scott. You are watching Jann Scott Live. On this TV show, we talk about front page, news-driven issues, and there are a lot of them, and thank God the CU students have gone. This is the time of the year when the community slowly but surely looks in and goes, is it safe to call now? We get all the drunken college pukes that call up. It's like, oh my God. And I have to play to them during the year, because they're like a big part of our audience. So bratty little. Anyway, this guy's name is Khalid Shahir Muhammad. He is a Muslim, And investigators think they've identified the Kuwaiti lieutenant of Osama bin Laden as the likely mastermind of September 11th. Okay, and here's a picture of the guy. He's got the beard and, you know, the big headpiece on and all of that. And what I want to know, is he being profiled? Is he being racially profiled? Or in this case, terrestrially profiled. He's a terrorist. You know, come on, he has rights. He's from Kuwait. I mean, how do they know? You can't do that just because he has a beard and he has glasses and he has like a headpiece and he comes from Kuwait and he was buddies with, he used to get it in the butt from Osama bin Laden, and he's got needle tracks all over his arm, and he helped raise heroin, and he helped ship it to this country. You have no right to arrest him. How dare you profile terrorists? Leave the terrorists alone. They have rights. Oh my God. I can hear it now. Hi, you're on the air with Jann Scott. What's going on?
Hey, can I express my opinion about you?
No, you can talk about the topic. You don't like me?
I do not.
Okay, well, you know what? Fuck you, goodbye. How's that? You expressed your opinion, and I expressed mine. Anyways, back on these terrorists. Ay. You don't like the show? Don't watch. If you can't engage articulately in a conversation with me and you can't hold up one position, don't call. All right? If all you have to say is, I have rights. I want to stay at the Wino Warehouse. Ooh, you shouldn't be on TV. Just anybody who's has gone to boarding school, turn off the TV. No boarding school brats. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. What was this guy's name? Khalid Mohammed. I wish Mohammed were here. He could pronounce these things right. And he's actually down in Atlanta. But he's coming back in July. He's trying to get back into airline school. But they won't admit guys anymore from Saudi Arabia if you just want to learn how to fly the airplane. Nope. Now you have to learn how to land it and take off. Yep. And chances are pretty good if you're from a Middle Eastern country, you know, like Kuwait, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan. What other countries are over there? If you're Palestinian, as an example, maybe you have connections to Hamas. They're not going to let you in airplane school in the United States. No. Oh my God. You know, this reminds me, I don't like you. I don't like you. Tough granola bars. All right, where was it? The FBI now they're now going to, we don't know if they're going to racially profile or terroristically profile people, but if you come from a Middle East country, chances are pretty good you're going to have your picture taken, you're going to be fingerprinted. What do you think about that? 440-3572 in our coverage on the war on terrorism. Next, here on Jann Scott Live, America's war on terrorism here on D-Day, the celebration of D-Day, which was June 6, 1944. And, you know, the FBI now, the Justice Department, John Ashcroft, the Attorney General, now wants to take pictures of everybody coming to this country. And the question that some folks are raising, the ACLU, commie organization, the ACLU is protesting this. The ACLU does not want immigration to take pictures of Middle Easterners when they come here. They don't want, if you're from Saudi Arabia, leave them alone. Or if you're from Kuwait, no. But you know, whenever I've gone overseas and gotten a visa, what do I have done? I have my picture taken and fingerprint. You ever have a visa card from another country, go to school in another country? You have an ID card. And why shouldn't we have them here? I mean, what's wrong with that? 440-3572. I mean, I'm wondering who is whining and why are they whining? We just had this particular group of people who look an awful lot alike. They all happen to be Saudis. Came to this country and blew up the World Trade Center. Their leader, the Islamic crazy Muslim radical terrorist, Osama bin Shithead, has called for death to all Americans. And why shouldn't we be taking their pictures is my question. Caller, hi, you're on the air with Jann Scott. What's going on?
Jann Scott is a racist fuck.
Bye, see you later. I know, listen. Here's the story to you, pal. Here's the story to you. You are one of the people who would like to blow up the World Trade Center. We know that, okay? If you're so in love with this group of people, why don't you go join them like Johnny Taliban, all right? He came from Marin County with rich parents like yours, and he went and joined the Taliban. He joined Al-Qaeda, and he was responsible for killing one of our own troops. If that's your trip, see ya. Have at it. But, you know, we flush out the people who hate America on this show. It's the Hate America First crowd. But really, what's wrong with this? When you go to another country, you get a visa, they take your picture. So why are we complaining about that here? We should have been doing this a long time ago. America's at war. It's a bad time to be an anti-government protester. I mean, we got to get real about this. I was over at Daddy Bruce's the other day, okay? And Bruce, we had somebody who was in there arguing with Bruce about the FBI. Now the FBI can go to the Rocky Mountain Peace and Justice Center. They can go to mosques. They can go to all these places. Well, thank God. I'm glad they can. You know, we need to be tracking what terrorists are doing. We certainly did it in World War II. I mean, people complain, oh, we interned the Japanese. Yes, we did. We were at war with the Japanese. It may not be politically correct today, but then it needed to be done. We also deported a lot of Germans in this country. We jailed a lot of Germans. And, you know, the more that terrorism keeps going on in this country, the more we are going to look at the countries that have radical Islamic cults, and we're going to have a hard look at them before we let them in our country. And why shouldn't we? Do you want to take responsibility for the next major act of terrorism, maybe a nuke going off in New York City? 440-3572. Or do you disagree with it? No, I mean, if you disagree with it on civil liberty, from a civil liberties point of view, okay, good. I mean, that's a good argument. Let's have it. It's an important argument. But we are at a time of war. Can you actually compare today to 1970 to the 1970s or the 1960s when civil rights activists and blacks were being targeted by the FBI and the CIA? I mean, I talked with Bruce Randolph at length about this the other day. He told me there is a vast difference when I marched with Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson, you know, on the road to Selma, Alabama, to today. I mean, all that's changed here in America. You know, blacks have rights, women have rights, Indians have rights. Everybody's got a lot of rights. But now the question is, do people who are foreigners that come here on visas that come here to go to school, how many rights do they have, and should we not have the right to really look at them and say, wait a minute, there are terrorist cells coming from all of these different countries. Good God, what have we identified? Over 100 countries that have these radical Islamic cells. You bitched and complained that the FBI and the CIA didn't do their job to find these guys when they blew up the World Trade Center. Now you don't want them to do their job. I mean, you can't have it both ways. 440-3572, the talk line on Jann Scott Live. I always love it when the, when the pinheads call. You pinheads, you can call me. When the whiners and the complainers. And listen, we have some nice young women who are answering the phone. Don't harass them. If you call them and you harass them, okay, we have caller ID, and I will call the police and have you arrested, okay? So if you want to talk to me, that's fine. If you call and harass the people that work on the show, it's a trip to jail. And just so that you know. It's some drunken guy. All right? So you want to take me on, you can call me. You can talk to me here. But if you harass the women, the men that call the women and harass the women, then we send you to jail. Yeah, we have your number. We have your number, and we call the police, and then they come, and we charge you. And I press charges against everybody that threatens the women and young men who work on this TV show, just so that you know. Over this past year, we've had 5 people arrested for that. So just remember, it's a television show, it's a political debate, but once you take it over the line and you threaten people that work on this show, and if you threaten women that work on the show, then we especially have you arrested, and we take it to Mary Keenan, and she loves, and you know how she loves to get you guys, so, all right, just keep that in mind as you're throwing your threats around this evening. 440-3572, how you doing? The next one is, should Israel invade Palestine? Continuing our conversation in our war and terrorism. Should Israel invade Palestine and put an end to the Palestinian terror? It worked the last time. So now, Israel goes in, they put tanks, troops in every single city, and terrorism in Israel stops, okay? Terrorism in Israel stops, and then the United States goes over and says, okay, you guys, the Israelis, pull your troops back now. Let's try to the big Rodney King thing, where Rodney King comes out and says, can we all just get along? And then of course Rodney goes out and gets drunk and does it all over again. So the great American statesman, and then the giant, LA riot followed that. So should Israel invade Palestine and occupy Palestine and throw Yasser Arafat out of there? All right, let's put that Yasser Arafat one up. Should Israel invade Palestine? There it is. Thank you so much. The United States really didn't do its job. See, when the Israelis pulled out of Palestine, we should have had peacekeepers ready to go in and occupy those spaces, but we didn't. And so what did Yasser Arafat do, and Hamas and all of his terrorist organizations? They just started blowing stuff up again. They blew up a bus, killed more people, and finally the Israeli military moved right in, and at this point, as I understand it, they have Yasser Arafat surrounded in his bunker again. And the question is, should they just kill him? Let's just kill him. Let's just run the Palestinians the hell out of there. I mean, who's had it up to here with this bullshit? And who's for the Israelis? I'm pro-Israel. Hey, caller, hi, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I think that Israel should definitely imprison Arafat. I think that they should definitely invade Palestine. His connections with different Islamic Jihad groups and stuff, just overwhelmingly.
Keep talking. I got to turn this thing down for a second. Yeah, so you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that they should go about it in such a way as they did, because it was just utterly ridiculous, the damage to the West Bank and everything.
Well, I mean, what are they going to do? They had to, the last time they were there, they shut down all the terrorism. I mean, they stopped it. Terrorism stopped in Israel, right?
Not really, because it did to some extent, but...
no, for the most part, it stopped.
Well, I don't really think it did, because after those days and stuff like that, like right after they were going to have the peace meetings and stuff, there were numerous bombings.
But once they pulled out, it started up again, right? But why the Israeli military was in Palestine, terrorism came to an end in Israel, right?
Well, I think that's going to be the case until a Palestinian state is established.
Well, I don't. You know what? I think it's over for the Palestinians.
I totally disagree.
You disagree?
I mean, Israel was a state that was formed just just the same way. I mean, it was a bullshit state that divided all these different people.
I don't think so. You know, the problem is this. If we had somebody in Boulder, okay, if the people from Ward came to Boulder and they didn't like, say, Boulder County and the Boulder County Sheriff's Department, and they started blowing shit up in Boulder, you can be damned well assured that law enforcement would surround the town of Boulder, or of Ward, go in there and occupy it, and it would come to an end.
Yeah, but that's entirely different because that's one group of people in one generalized area, whereas like in Palestine you've got all sorts of different people, and you've got to concentrate on these specific people, and in particular Arafat.
Well, I mean, okay, I agree, but I mean, but you have all these other groups too, and he says he's not responsible for them, you know, like Hamas and Palestinian Liberation Organization.
Okay. Do you think fighting's ever going to stop over there?
Well, I personally, I think that, well, I've just kind of hard-lined on this. I think it worked when the Israeli military went in and occupied Palestine. It came to an end. Now, if you want to move peacekeepers in then, that's fine. But I damn well don't think that the Israelis should take any more shit from the Palestinians.
Yeah, but for every Israeli that's killed, there's like 1,000 Palestinians.
Well, I don't know about that. I do know this, that the people of Palestine and the military of Palestine have it within their power to put an end to the terror. And the only time it seems to stop is when the Palestinians, when the Israelis occupy their country. Listen, thanks for the call. We're going to go round and round on this. I know we disagree, but that was a good call. That's pretty much how I feel about it. You know, a place you can really get some more information on this is Foolish Craig's. Craig worked for the Israeli lobby in Washington, and he's got some other Jewish scholars that work at the restaurant, and you ought to go talk to that guy if you think I'm hardcore in this. But I'm pro-Israel, and I think that the Israelis just ought to go in and I think they ought to push the Palestinians right the hell out. I think we can create a Palestinian state someplace else, out in the middle of the nowhere. They had their chance to behave, and they didn't. And it's kind of how it works as far as I'm concerned. FBI rules creating fear. Now, the FBI can go to continuing our war on terrorism. The FBI can go to a mosque. It can go to the Rocky Mountain Peace and Justice Center, go to any one of their meetings. Now, some people are saying, oh, but this is new. They weren't allowed to do that before. Yes, they were. Law enforcement is always attending radical groups to find out what they're up to. It's the way that they keep track of them. They got this out in the open so to keep people from whining. But remember, we're at a time of war, and the FBI is going to look hard at a lot of different people. Justice Department's going to start looking hard at people. Justice Department's going to fingerprint people, take pictures of them if they come from terrorist countries, and we're going to keep track of them. Nobody wants to see another World Trade Center incident. 4403572, so you can stop complaining about it, and it's not a violation of your civil rights. And if you're a foreigner, or you're immigrating to this country, you're coming here to go to school, you have less rights than we have. The FBI could monitor internet, libraries, pharmacies, credit card data, and ACLU fears agents might even attend churches, oh horrors, temples, and mosques. I hope they're attending mosques. I hope they're there every night. Because, you know, the Muslim community in this country does not exactly have a very good reputation. They have not been forthcoming. They have not been supportive of the United States. They're always making excuses for Osama bin Laden and the likes. You know, they brought more heat down on themselves. I mean, on the other side of the coin, I mean, you've got radical anti-nuke activists who are out protesting Senator Udall. Congressman Udall. And Congressman Udall, you can't get any more liberal. I mean, he's the environmentalist congressman, and his own people are protesting him. And the FBI identifies them, you know, as radical eco-terrorists and, you know, anti-military terrorists. So they arrest this guy and put him in jail, or they arrest him and keep him away from the congressman, and they're complaining. Well, don't complain. If you're going to be, a radical terrorist on the left or the right, or Muslim or whatever, be prepared to be harassed by law enforcement, and rightfully so. God. I know Boulder has lots of radicals on all sides, but what is it with you guys? You just want to, let the terrorists go free. Carol Beninsky, another leftist, complaining, I went to protest Mark Udall, and they wouldn't let me in this government facility. Look, you belong to a radical terrorist organization yourself, Rocky Mountain Peace and Justice Center. I mean, you guys, it's not like you're exactly We Love America types. You're like the Blame America First crowd. Of course the FBI are going to watch you more closely during this time. We are at war with a bunch of Islamic cells around the country in a guerrilla war worldwide, joined by other nations, and it ain't the way it used to be, so get used to it. And it's not going to change. And I'll tell you one thing, the more noise you make, the more heat you bring down on yourself. 440-3572, the talk line. You're watching Jann Scott Live. Lots to talk about tonight. All right, let me see here. Fingerprinting. Oh my God. Want to talk about the Catholic Church? I love these people. Bishops call for crackdown on priests. Panel also says one past assault may be tolerated. A panel of Roman Catholic bishops on Tuesday called for a zero-tolerance policy against priests who molest children in the future, and a 2 strikes and you're out policy for those guilty of past abuse. So that means it's okay if you just molest one young boy. Oh, okay, just one. What is the Catholic Church thinking? This is such bullshit. What this says, de facto, is we're all a bunch of pervert fags and we like to molest young boys. That's what it says. Let us just do it once, okay, and then we won't do it again, promise. This is bullshit. The same law should apply to these guys that applies to everybody else. You molest one young boy, jail. And you get a sex offender's jacket. Jesus Christ. This just shows what bullshit this church is into. And let's not lay it all on the Catholic, because there are a lot of perverts out there in the Protestant community too. Oh yes, the more right-wing they are, the more fundamentalist Christian they are, the more perverts they have. So I love this. Okay, you can just molest one boy. Okay, we won't do it. You can still be a priest. Just promise to never do it again. This is crazy. 440-3572. What do you think? Just one. You get to just one. It's like don't ask, don't tell. I don't know, just one. Bet you can't have just one young boy. Just one young boy. Okay, come here. Oh, it's okay. You're the first. Imagine if I did that with the girls who work on this show. If I said, "Oh, it's okay."
Imagine that.
Yeah, the TV law says you can sexually harass just one beautiful, nubile young girl.
Shut up.
Just once. All right. And then finally we get to robbing prairie dogs to feed ferrets. This is according to Tony Brown. Why does Boulder County want to feed a species that is endangered to another endangered species? And then he goes on about the only solution is to protect what little remaining prairie habitat we have left. Oh, give me a break. There are prairie dogs all the way to Kansas and beyond. They are all over the place. Eagles are having a huge feast. But I came up with an idea on how to solve the wino problem. Originally, I thought, well, we could sell the prairie dogs to the Japanese for $2,000 a piece because they like them as pets. Instead of spending a lot of money out at the Humane Society, they have a lot of dogs out there. And you could, we could slaughter the dogs and feed the dogs to the winos. So, we have the new Wino Club Med. Well, we could have like dog delicacies out there. What do you think? That would be a great idea. And then you wouldn't have to worry about euthanizing dogs or, oh, we have so many runaway pets. We have all these rich people that bring their little dogs here, and then finally, I'm sick of Fluffy, kick him out, go on, get out of here. And then they wander around. I mean, we're like, this is the biggest spoiled brat, rich white community on the face of the earth. There are too many dogs here. And pets, of course, can't fend for themselves. So my thought was, let's just, let's serve up some Thai dishes with dog. Yeah. Okay. Or the other thought would be we could always euthanize the winos and feed them to the prairie dogs. Oh, no, they wouldn't like it, huh? Probably not. Nah, too much alcohol. Just joking. Kidding. Sorry, I wasn't serious. I'm not seriously suggesting. I mean, the prairie dogs would be sick. Oh, it'd be like mercury poisoning except it'd be alcohol poisoning for them. All right. I love pissing off the the really politically correct Birkenstock wearing. You hurt my feelings. I'm gonna call. All right. All right. Finally, what really brought all of this on is, I want to know, is your wife crazy? Can we talk about this for a minute? The time has just gotten away. But is your wife crazy? I mean, does she just drive you nuts? Guys, I want to hear from you tonight. About your wife. Let's talk about your wife or your girlfriend. Is your girlfriend nuts? Or I'd like to hear for anybody that has ex-wife stories, the ex-wife from hell. We could call this the ex-wife from hell chronologues in this segment of Jann Scott Live. Or ex-girlfriend stories. See, the problem is a lot of women complain about us, and it's like, their favorite thing. Oh, all men are the same. Well, tonight I've decided to come up with something new, and that is your wife crazy? Which will be a recurring segment here on the TV show. And, a lot of us guys, when we get together, I mean, we don't, of course, tell our wives or our girlfriends the way we really feel, but basically the way we really feel is that all women are basically the same. They're all really nuts. And we pretty much get blamed for everything. Everything and anything. You go to any restaurant in town, you see two chicks there, like the tea house, the girly place. What are they talking about? They're talking about us and what's wrong with us. 3 women walking down the mall for lunch. What are they talking about? Us. They're obsessed with us and how they want to change us and all, just on and on and on. So finally, for 5 minutes or so, I thought maybe we could talk about them. The enemy. Yeah, and maybe from just between you and I, guy to guy, and I know you're watching tonight, you're sitting home, wife's probably not home, and the question is your wife crazy? I mean, I know she is. And are you sick and tired of having us complained about? I mean, whatever it happens to be. You leave your tools laying around. You didn't clean the garage. You didn't take out the garbage. And the number one, divorce item, of course, is you didn't put down the toilet seat. Now, all of this, of course, is brought up by the mere fact that John Elway, Janet left John Elway. She walks out on him. She's, kind of a Christian right-winger, goes to all the Christian women's things saying, my husband, the football star. She can't get him to go to church. And John likes to go to the sports bars and drink with his buddies, so I don't know, she left. And then, I mean, there's a sort of a divorce count. It's routine in Boulder. So I'd like to hear from you about your wife tonight. Any stories about her? I mean, like, what really drives you crazy about her? I mean, or is she crazy? What does she do that's crazy? Oh man, and everybody has, like, and if you don't have a wife, since in Boulder, this is like the big girlfriend. Oh, we live together. Okay, so you know, like the woman I live with. Men only. No women callers this evening. No, we're not going to talk about, oh, well, why can't we just talk about those men that drive us? No, we're not going to do that, because that's all you ever talk about is us. I mean, we're sick of it. You turn on all these talk shows. He did this, and he did that. You know, you listen to Dr. whatever her name is, Dr. Laura, or any of them. Dr. Joy. My husband, nee. We get blamed for everything. Does your wife drive you crazy? Doesn't drive me crazy, but I don't know her. And I don't have a wife. Oh, hell no. No, this is the year that I gave up crazy women. Yeah. I had a whole slew of them in my life. Oh my God. They're fucking nuts. I mean, I could tell you about Lara. Okay, frizzy-haired thing, rich, spoiled, knows everything, and especially knows how to tell me how to run my life. Does peyote, goes to Naropa. I finally kind of looked at her one day and thought, you are crazy, out of your mind. I'm not going to go out with you anymore. Or then there was Maddie. Oh, yeah. Maddie would call up and say, I'm lonely, can we go out? And I'm like, okay, let's see, what's my job here? Is my job to fix your loneliness? So we would go out, and the whole conversation would be about her and her pathetic life. I mean, that is not worth anything. Okay, it's worth a blowjob maybe, once or twice, but, you know, after that, you're just like, oh, crap, you know. I can't take it. You know, who wants to hear that shit every single time? You know, the whole seriousness and drama of it all. Save that for your girlfriends. Guys don't want to hear that shit. You know. Who else was there? Oh, and then there was Cam. She was great. Oh, and you ever notice the ones you go out with? How many of you guys are going out with women like they take medication? They're on fucking Praxol or Prozac or something, and they are just nuts. And all you have to do is hear about, I have a mental disorder. It's like, is there anybody in this town that does not have a mental disorder or take medication? Anyone? I think I've had it up to here with that. So Cam was nice. She had the ex-husband from hell, so she said. But I finally learned, she said he was a brute and mean and everything, but all he ever wanted to do was see her kid. And she always gave him a hard time about that. And I met the guy. He turns out to be a heck of a guy, right? And it finally dawned on me that he was probably a perfectly reasonable person until he married her, and she drove him mad. Oh, yeah. And she was also the kind of person if you go on a date, maybe you go to 3 different places, she'd want to take her own car. So you'd have like 2 people following each other in a different car. And I'm like, what is this, like, your own car thing? I mean, we're going to end up, like, you know, in the rack anyways. I mean, I don't understand this. This was like kind of a relationship. And it was like, oh, I don't know. Oh, Jesus Christ. So I finally realized that she was crazy, and so that's X'd out of my life. There were other things too. Okay. Is your wife crazy? Or the girlfriends from hell? I bet it's time to run the credits, huh? Yeah. So we have this Paula Abdul song this evening, which is called Hey Baby, which is really dedicated to those of you guys who have crazy girlfriends, crazy ex-girlfriends. You can call it on the jawline too, 447-1JAW, and call me with any of your stories, ex-girlfriend stories, ex-wife from hell stories, is your girlfriend nuts, and your crazy wife. Unless, of course, you're like watching TV with her tonight. She's going to be, you better not call up and say one thing! You mind mowing the lawn? Oh no, we don't have a lawn anymore. That's right, we have a drought. All right, beware the water police. They're out and about looking for you. It's been real, and I hope it's been fun for you. See you next week.